Okay. Sorry for that break. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start today's uh, discussion. I saw on the chat someone said he can't hear anything. Of course, you couldn't hear anything until now because we are about to start. Um, I'll take a look at your chat. I believe most of you have tried the quiz we gave. The purpose of the quiz is to know how much you are familiar with what we want to discuss. Afterwards, we're going to come up with another quiz again to see how much you have maybe been able to get from the general discussion. The ground rules for this particular discussion still remains the same. What we do is we will have everybody muted. The reason is simple and clear because some people have noise in their background that can disturb the whole class. And then, so your means of interacting with us is for you to either click, raise a hand, or you type it in the chat. Once you type in the chat, I'm going to see it immediately. I'm going to react to it. I'm going to say whatever the issue is, even if it means me repeating a point that I've made earlier. All right, thank you for your patience, and let us begin. The first thing is today is for us to discuss feasibility study and business plan. What's the difference between feasibility study and business plan? We'll want to find out that. But before I proceed with that, can I be sure that we're all in class? Uh, because this is not a physical class, you don't even know if someone is listening to you or not. If you are in class and you want me to proceed, just type on the chat. Say, please proceed, or just write proceed so that I know that I'm interacting with people that are active in class. Okay. I'm looking at the chat now to see your responses. Let me see your responses. Just write proceed. Oh, no one is around to discuss with me. Not even ladies to support me. Mm. If you are in class, yes, I've got a chat. Let me check. Oh, Simi is here. Welcome, Simi. Simi is some guy or a lady. I don't know. Simi, guy or a lady. I'm apologies for not knowing. But I think Simi should be a lady. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Welcome, Simi. So can we just proceed now? What we have for today, I'm assuming that there are other people in class already. What we are going to do today is want to look at feasibility study and want to look at business plan. Feasibility study is about preparation. The business plan is about the plan for the preparation. Okay. Oh, Hot Nine Play. Oh, I don't know your name. Hot Nine plays around. Oh, thank you very much for educating me on that. Simi is a lady. Thank you. All right. So between ladies and guys, who prepares better for a trip? Can I have your response to? I mean, the inquiry is to everyone. Between guys and ladies, if you say, okay, a guy should prepare for a trip, a lady should prepare for a trip, who does it better? All right. Someone say lady. Okay. Lady, but the person's name is not. Oh, ladies. It means a lady. So, all right, ladies have it. Okay, what gives them this idea of being people better at preparing? Yes, because they look ahead. They try to figure out what could happen, what could go on, what could be wrong during this trip, or what will we need during this trip. But for a guy, he might just say, oh, when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it, or the guy might say, okay, at this point, if all I need is most of the time, money can buy whatever I want. So he just keeps his money in his cash. But money might not necessarily be everything. You might have money on you, you might not be able to get what you want. So you see, all of us in the house have agreed that ladies prepare better, meaning also that ladies do a whole lot of feasibility study and business planning than men, right? Maybe some people will say, oh, no, that's as far as preparation for trips are concerned. Well, I don't want to know who does it better in terms of business, but we both need to do it better as far as our business is concerned. And that's the key thing we want to discuss here. We want to look at our journey into this business. I want to look at our venture into this business like a trip or a journey we want to undertake and want to prepare for it. So essentially, that's what we're dealing with under feasibility study and business plan as we discussed. Okay, let me bring you up another analogy. Like if you want to put up a home, yeah, where you want to live for the next 10 years, 15 years, what you will do most likely is to look for a place. You look for a place, a piece of land, and you say, okay, this place could be nice. You check out the place, how many people are going to come around here soon, and all of that. Is the weather fine? Is the street not too busy? And all of that. You check that out before you proceed to know whether the place is okay for you. That we will say is a feasibility study. Because when you have done that study, the next thing is for you to think of, okay, how much could a piece of land go for here? I'm going to pay for it and all of that. But when you are done with that and you come up with an architectural plan for the building you want to put up, plus the or expense, how much it's going to cost you, we refer to that as your business plan. So that's the difference between feasibility study and a business plan, essentially. And those are the two things we want to look at today under this model. So the first section is feasibility study. We'll take a break of 1 minute, or sometimes we will not take any break, and then we'll do the business plan. We'll do the business plan in the second session. There are a couple of topics under each of these sessions, and so you can say, okay, we'll close. So the whole model is made up of two sections and then some topics under each of the sessions. Section one, feasibility study. Section two, business plan. Proceed now. Section one is our feasibility study, right? Feasibility study. And we have some topics under the feasibility study. I think about 4 topics that we want to just quickly talk about before we close the day. Okay, here we're bringing up another pretest again, or maybe the whole day is going to be test, 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 test. All right, fine. If you saw test, 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 and then everybody is passing, then we just close it earlier and go. Yeah, we say, what is a feasibility study? What I am looking for. I need you to write something on the chat now. What I'm looking for. Don't go give me those definitions that you find on Google, the definitions you get from classrooms. Just what do you think feasibility study is? Just say it as it is. We're in a business world now, entrepreneurship world. We're not in an academic world where you want to get the correct definition of this or that. No. So just write that. Then number two is differentiate between feasibility study and a business plan. Just give me anything you think is a difference. You think we should do a feasibility study? If you think we should, think of any reason, put it there as number three, and I can proceed. So let me see if I get 2-3 people attempt this, then I can just proceed. Let me see the fast finger. I am aware that as you write, maybe due to your internet or speed or whatever, it takes some time for it to get here. And maybe my voice will delay, and then your response will also delay. All right, but let me just wait a while and see if I can get any of it. If you want to attempt any of these pretests, go ahead and attempt anyone. Don't wait until, it mustn't be in the questions appear like number one, number two, number three. If you want to talk about number three, just go ahead, write three, and then mention it. Let me see 2-3 responses and I'm good to go. Oh, no one is talking. Nobody is talking at the moment. All right. If I don't get any response, I will just if I don't get response, I'll just proceed with the day's work and see how. So the next thing now that I'm not getting proceed. All right, there are 4 topics. We have 4 topics here, we say, under feasibility study. What we want to do what we want to discuss under feasibility study is 1, what is a feasibility study? And then 2, we want to also look at a feasible business. What we mean here is that at what time will you say this is a feasible business? At what time will you say this is a feasible business? So a feasible business is the characteristic it has. That's what we want to know under 0.1. And 0.2, let's know what's the objective. Why is it important for us to do feasibility? And what are some of the shortcomings that we have noticed? Why are we discussing the shortcomings? At least the importance is for you to really appreciate what you're doing, and then the objective is to know why you're doing it. And the shortcomings is to help you guide against things that you watch out for when you are doing study. And then number 3, I have a very short advice for you on how to go about your feasibility study, the practical approach, when you want to approach it, just very short. And then number 4 here is what are the components we should see, the minimum component we should find in a feasibility study report. When you're back from your feasibility study, I expect that you're going to write a report that we can see. What are the minimum components we should see? So that once we know it, it helps us prepare for what our feasibility study will look like. All right, up till now, no one attempted the pretest that was on the screen. There is a pretest that was on the screen. There was another pretest that we put on the WhatsApp chat. I'm going to look at that shortly to see what the performance is. If your performance is low, I'm happy, meaning that it's not a familiar terrain for you. So I can take my time to discuss. But if all of you are scoring 100, then it's good to go. All right, Enas Chingwe is raising her hand. Chingwe, yeah, that should be a lady. Yes, let me guess right. All right. Okay. If you want to speak, you can go ahead and speak at this moment. Unmute yourself and speak.
Good morning.
Morning, man.
Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, I can hear clearly.
Yeah, I only saw the pretest on the WhatsApp. The other pretest you're talking about, I didn't see it. And I've done the one on WhatsApp. I've sent it back to the WhatsApp group. But this other one you're saying on the screen, I didn't see.
Well, the one on the WhatsApp is okay for me. I'm going to look at it shortly on the dashboard.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, the one I just asked on screen is more or less like our discussion where I was saying what's the difference between feasibility study and a business plan? Why is it important, or what is a business plan? So let's just proceed with that. It's just like a discussion in the class.
Okay, all then right. There's one other one I sent on the chat. When you ask what's the feasibility study, I sent it to the chat.
Okay, to the Zoom chat or the WhatsApp chat, right?
The Zoom chat.
Okay, the Zoom chat. Okay, I'm going to look at it right away and I'll react to it. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, so okay, I can see now. I can see some responses. Even some Temi Tokbe Abiodun has responded to me. We study feasibility study mostly to know how to carry out a business plan. Okay, you see, that's it. So I've just seen her own. I've not seen that from Chingwe, but I know I'm going to see it because sometimes this response is delayed. All right, so if your background, you're sure your background is quiet, I can continue. But if you are not sure your background is going to be quiet, you can yourself now. All right, so on the screen at the moment is what we have for the first one, which is what's the feasibility study in the first place. So what is the feasibility study? You know that I said this, our discussion has nothing to do with academics. We are businessmen here, so that's why we talk in our own language. We businessmen, they are not known for talking too much. They hit the point on the nail. So let's try and hit the point on the nail and say what we think feasibility study is. It's simply an analysis of the viability of an idea. All right, so there are three keywords there. There's an analysis that has to be done. There's also a check, a result that you need to get, which is viability. And what are you analyzing? Analyzing your. Now, in the last class, I was discussing with them one idea. The idea is, what about a machine? What if we get a machine that can feed someone? So that I just, you place it on the dining seat, I walk, I come there, I don't touch any food, I don't touch nothing, and the machine feeds. All right, so that's an idea. Will this machine sell? Is it going to be a good business? That's what I want us to check, right? So the first analysis we're going to do here in class is, would you like a machine to help feed you if you are in top shape, in good health, or you would like to use calories or your hand? Let me even see your reaction on the chat so that I'll know. Let me see your reaction on the chat. Tell me which one you prefer. You like my machine? If you like my machine, I'm going to invest money there, and then I know that when I bring the machine fully developed into the market, people are going to buy it. So let's do the feasibility analysis now. We're analyzing the machine. So the first thing is, let me find out even if people want to have machines, feed them. So let's see, let's just test the class and see. Okay, we're testing the class now. Yeah, I'm waiting for your chat responses. Now, you want calories or you want to eat with the machine. All right, so the answers I'll get will let me know whether I should proceed with developing this particular business. Another thing to be analyzed here is, I first done the analysis for preference, right? The second analysis is, what's going to power this machine? Is the machine going to be powered by light supply? So when there is no power, how do I eat? These are questions we have to ask ourselves. And so when you are asking this kind of question, you are invariably doing an analysis. And what is the purpose of this analysis? To check whether this idea is viable. I believe you all here in class have an idea already, a business idea. Hardly will anyone not have a business idea and you'll be in this particular discussion because you have an idea. It's not late for you to go back on your idea. It's not late. If you think it's not viable, go back, think carefully, come up with another one that is more viable. That's the purpose of a feasibility study. All right, if you see the last point here, we say it looks at the viability of an idea with an emphasis on identifying potential problems, on identifying potential problems. So like we just identified one potential problems, right? Which with our machine, we say, what if there is no power supply? How does the machine work? So how does the machine work? And so go back to the sentence again, and we say, and attempts to answer one main question. We're trying to answer one main question. Will the idea work, and should we proceed with it? So if we try to answer one main question like, oh, no problem, if there's no light, we're going to fix the machine with a battery. You know, when you try to fix the machine with a battery, you have to fix it with a charging point, you have to fix it with a power management issue. And at the end of the day, can we answer the last question that is involved with the idea work? Proceed with it. So you can see what our definition of feasibility study is. Okay, so the next thing for us is, let's check, think that this business is a feasible business. We have 4 criteria that we use to check whether a business is feasible or not. 4 criteria that we use whether to check whether a business is feasible or not. The criteria here we have 1, will the business generate adequate cash flow and will it generate profit? Oh, that means there's a difference between cash flow and profit, right? Okay, I'll come back to that. Then another point is, can the business withstand, or will the business, right, withstand the risk it will encounter? You can see we're using 2 wheel there. If you look at the screen, there's a wheel here, and then there's another wheel here, meaning that we are saying that the business will definitely encounter risk. So what is risk in the first place? Risk is probability. It has to be probability. So an event will occur is, you are talking about risk. So the probability could be that you get something positive or you get something negative. That's risk. So all business must face risk. The other one is the one in blue here. We said, can it remain viable in the long term, right? You see, Now that in the wake of people expecting the vaccine for COVID, once this becomes a successful vaccine and nobody can, the COVID cannot, is no longer a serious pandemic or a threat to anybody, you will now notice that the business of face masks is going to go down. You get it? So would you think that that business will remain viable in the long term? In a general long term, the answer is no, of course, except when you are using the long term as far as the life of the threat of COVID is. And then the last point, does it meet the goals of the founder? Why did you start the business? Is it meeting your goal? You know, you start a business for a particular purpose. So is it meeting your goal? These are some of the questions that we should answer. If all your answers check yes, 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 then your business is a flexible business. All right, before I leave this screen, let's go back to the question I asked earlier. What's the difference between cash flow and profit? Can I see your reaction on the chat? Or maybe the class, they don't like reacting on their chat. But if you do, I will really appreciate that you following me. If you don't mind, you can write on your chat what you think the difference between cash flow is, what you think the difference between a cash flow and profit is. All right, with that, let me quickly give you even an instance. Okay, let me use two ladies. The guys should not ask me why I'm not using them for my example. All right, I have Simi and I have Chinwe in class, right? Two of them are out for business and then they decide to sell oranges. Um, Simi bought her orange for 10 naira, 10 oranges, each 10 naira. That would be what? Right? 100, yeah. So 10 oranges times 10 naira, that's 100 naira. Chingwe also bought her oranges as well for 10 naira. For 10 oranges, that's 100 naira. Both of them spent 100 naira each on their 10 oranges. They decided to treat this orange, you peel it, do whatever with it, and then take it to the market for sale. At the end of the day, Simi sold her orange for 100 naira each. That's she's coming back with what? 100 times 10, that's 1,000 naira. While Chiwe sold her orange for 200. 200 times 10, that's 2,000. All right, let's see who made more profit. Simi made profit of 1,000 minus 100, she spent that's 900. Whereas Chiwe made profit of what? 2,000 minus 100, she spent 1,900. So we can see that Chinwe made more profit than Simi. But there's something that I did not mention in my illustration. Chinwe sold all her oranges on credit. So at that moment, she's not with any cash. Whereas Simi has 1,000 naira with her as her cash flow. So total cash inflow is 1,000 for Simi, whereas total cash inflow for Chinwe at that time is. So you can see the difference between cash flow and profit in these two models. So out of these two models, which of the models will you prefer? Do you prefer Simi's model or Chinwe's model? Can I see your reaction on the chat? If you don't want to react again, I will not be asking any much for reaction. I will just talk and talk and talk. But I'll find that so boring. Okay, maybe somebody is going to talk this time. Which model do you prefer, Simi's model or Chinwe's model? And I believe from the illustration, you have gotten the difference between cash flow and profit. So while I wait for your reaction on the chat, yay, I've gotten one. Yeah, somebody has reacted. Let me see what the person is saying. Oh, Simi, all right. Simi said, I prefer Simi's model. Okay, maybe that is because she's Simi. That's why she prefers Simi's model. I don't know. All right, maybe that's not the reason. Let's see. Let's see what Chinwe will prefer if she gets to respond. Okay. All right. So while I wait for reactions, if any, let me proceed with the slide. So the next slide is telling us, it's almost like rule, the standing rule or something. So for every transaction, you could have a standing rule. This is what you must do. This is what you should do. Let's know what we should note anytime you are discussing feasibility study. Anytime you come in for this type of topic, these are the things you must do. One, anybody with a business idea should conduct a feasibility study. It's almost like a rule. Once anybody walks up to you and say, "Oh, I have this idea," I just tell the person, "Please go and do." That's the rule. Don't bother stressing yourself. Just say, "Please go and do it." It's only for us. What for? What for? To determine the viability of their idea before proceeding with developing the business. Before you proceed with developing the business to a full-blown business. All right. So other things I need you to note are, oh, I think I have a reaction on the chat. Let's see. Oh yes, Temi Tokbe Biodun say I prefer Simi's model. Wow, I can't see anybody preferring Chinwe's model. Let's watch. Record, Chinwe made more profit and she be paid later. Okay, good. Right, so some of the other things that I need you to note is that one, your feasibility study will address things like where you should start your business, how you should start your business, or how the business is going to operate. You know, an example is like if you're going into farming and you say, okay, I should locate my farm in the middle of Abuja or central area, right? The question is, yes, if you locate your business in central area, you may have more security, you may have less threat to several other things, and you may have more access to farmers, right? To buyers, because people want to buy your product quickly, because most of them living around here don't farm and they need this food. But there are other questions to ask yourself. One of the questions is, if I set up my business, if I set up my farm in city center, what about land use regulations? Will they allow me to keep said, will I have a piece and all of that? You need to find out. And then that takes you to say, okay, well, since how much space do I even have in city center? So some of you will now say, okay, there's no space in city center where I can see some 20 hectares lying fallow and all of that. So they will now take their farm back into, they'll take their farm to the rural areas. All right, another point is that it will help provide in-depth details. So once you do a full feasibility study, like I told you in terms of when you want to build your home, if you go there and you discover that it's not a flat land, it has some landscape and all that, it has rock and all that. Those are details. It's not that you just have a piece of land you want to put up a building, but you now know the topography of that particular place. And then if you determine, to tell you what kind of structure you should put, how you should shape your structure and all of that. Then another point is that it serves as a valuable tool for developing a winning business plan. So once you do a feasibility study, your business plan becomes easy to. And lastly, we say feasibility study can be used in many ways, right? But it focuses on the proposed business venture. That's what we do. Okay, so with this, I think we are done with topic one in section one, which is what feasibility study is and what is a suitable business. And the things you should know. Oh, let me see. There is here. Jessica can't hear me. Jessica can't hear me. Wow. Are you sure your maybe you should tune up the volume of your earphone or something, or look carefully, maybe something is not okay, because I think a number of people can hear me and that's why they are reacting. And that's why I always ask people to react on the chat, because when you hear me, I know you are. When you react on the chat, then I know that you can hear me. But if you still can't hear, let us know. We'll find out from others whether they can hear me. Then we'll now know whether the problem is just maybe your device. So those of you that can hear me, let me know that you hear me so that I know that it's Jessica's device. But if you can't hear me, then I know that I have to check my device again. Note that if I don't hear anything, it means no one can hear me. All right, Chinwe has reacted. He said, okay, she gave us the meaning of feasibility study. It's a focused research to determine if a business will be successful and viable. Cash flow is the liquid cash available in the system, while profit is overall gain. Okay, Chinwe said she prefers Simi's model. Okay. At least it's not the one that was Simi that was preferred. All right, I pray Jessica will be able to hear. Okay, proceed until we're able to address technical issues at Jessica's end. All right, let's look at another thing now. What's it? We want to look at the objective now. What we're looking at is just the objective. Why feasibility study? There is nothing story about why a feasibility study. Simply, it's simply for you to raise funds, nothing more. Just to raise funds. Anytime you want to raise funds, okay, yes, yes. Some people say they can hear me. Okay, great. So Jessica, I don't know. Maybe you have to address your you have to address, take a look at your device. So I'm going to send you, I'm going to reply you now. Let me reply Jessica quickly and tell her to check her device. Okay. I'm struggling with response to her. All right. Okay, I can see it now. Where is Jessica? Oh, oh, Jessica is not even in class anymore. Okay. Okay, we said to raise funds, right? And then the next thing is it will help you do what? It will help you determine the optimum facility mix to maximize. Oh, what's all this? What's all this? Let's look for simpler terms. You know, we're in a business class and we talk straight. Okay, optimum facility mix. What's that? And then we know to maximize revenue, that is to make more money, big money, right? So now when we come to optimum facility mix that will help us make big money, what are we saying? Let me give you an example. You go to a rural area now, and then you want to venture into the transport business. And you realize that in that village, about 10 people leave every time to the nearest city on bike. So the next thing is, if you should you go ahead and buy 10 bikes so that you convert these people, or why not do another study? We can do another study. One of the studies to do is for us to check if you can check if what's the time space these people leave the place. If somebody leaves a place, if one passenger leaves an hour interval, right? So you don't need 10 bikes. Maybe you just need 2 bikes, right? So that the first bike will pick the first person and go, drop the person. Within a space of 1 hour, the other bike will be back. If the bike is not back in 1 hour, the next 1 hour, the other bike can pick the other person. And then you're sure that the other bike would have returned to pick the third person. So you can use 2 bikes to attend to 10 people, and you make more money from 10 people, and you make the same money from 10 people. So that's what we mean by facility, optimal facility mix that will help you maximize revenue. All right, someone raised the hand. I think it was Bako. Bako raised his hand. Let's see if Bako has a question. I'm going to ask him to unmute. He will ask me the question, and I'll check chat if I have a comment there. If Bako doesn't have any question, then we can just proceed. Okay. All right, good. Okay, it seems Bako doesn't have any more questions, right? Okay, let's go ahead. Then the next point is point 3 now. The first one is raising of fund. The second one is optimal facility mix to maximize revenue. And then the third one is for everyone to agree to, for every party to your business to agree. There are several parties to your business. Sometimes you have a wife, you have a husband, they need to agree to it. You have friends that are even funding you. You have family that are also putting in their money. And then all of us are here for NISA Microfinance Bank loan. And so you need NISA Microfinance Bank officials to also agree to all the elements of the project. That's one of the reasons feasibility study. All right, then the next one is it helps us to form the basis for initial market and project. Initial market. Look at it this way. Throughout our discussion today, anytime you hear me say market, market is number of people that are going to buy product from you. Number of people that will buy the product from you. So it helps us to form the basis for initial market. That means what's the basis for the initial number of people that will buy from us, right? That's the purpose of feasibility. Then the other point is that in some cases, I'm repeating it for emphasis, listen to it carefully. It provides the argument for business closure. So whereas feasibility study is to help us start a business, on the other hand, is to help you know whether you should close the business or not. So if your business is not doing well, do a feasibility study before you shut the door. That's why you see some people, they will shut down a business and then they come back a year, 2, 3 later and find out that somebody has started the same business and the person is doing well. It meant that you probably did not do a very good feasibility study before quitting. Because if you had done a sound feasibility study before quitting, you would likely have seen that what you were experiencing were temporary and that the business was going to turn in a short time. Okay, that's essentially why the objective, the reason why we do 5 of them. Okay, let's go to watch some shortcomings that we have noticed with people's feasibility study, and we are discussing it so that you don't fall into this area. Number one, overestimated market potential. You all let me again. If not that the class don't react to my chart, I could go to the chat now and see if they still remember what market meant. So what is market? Someone has unmuted himself. Do you want to talk? Is it Baku? Baku, you have unmuted yourself. Are you trying to ask a question or say something? If not, go ahead and mute yourself. If not, otherwise your background sound will interfere with the class. All right, Baku, please mute yourself. Okay, I'm sure. Let me see if he has done that. He has not done that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. Okay, I said what? I said overestimated market potential. So what is your market potential? What's the number of people that will buy from you? You could easily think that all of them are going to buy from you. For example, you live around Abuja and you can say, oh, Abuja has over 5 million people around. That is both city center, suburb, and the suburb, neighboring states. Now say, okay, if I go into the business of sachet water, I can sell to 5 million people. And if I make ₦1 profit from sachet water, that's 5 million every month. That's a great idea. 12 months in a year, I should make 60 million. That looks reasonable. 60 million, and then I took a loan of 10 million. Oh, that means I don't need to wait for the 7 years to pay back. Okay, your business is good. But then take a look at it. Are you the only one in this market? Are you sure all these 5 million people living around here will drink your water? These are things you need to know for sure. And where you assume that 5 million people will take your water, then you may as well have overestimated the market. That takes us to the second point on the screen there, underestimated competition. Yeah, you may say you want to sell 5 million sachet of water in Abuja. Are you the only one in this business? There are competitors. Some competitors are closer to their market than you. Maybe your market is in Gwagwalada and you are trying to sell water in Nyanya and there's another factory in Nyanya. Won't it be that that factory in Nyanya will do better? These are competitions. And apart from that, some people understand the market better. Some people know when people drink more water, and maybe you are just entering the business and you have not done all of that. So those are some shortcomings that we need you to incorporate into your study. That takes us to number 3. Plant capacity is not compatible with market size. Okay, take it for granted the market size is 5 million. And then you put up a plant capacity or facility. You put up a facility that can produce only 1 million in a month. So how do you produce the remaining 4 million that the market is asking for? So you need to look at the market. Market is number of people that will buy from you. Let me repeat that again. So you will need to check whether your facility on ground, your plant capacity that you want to put on ground can supply to the market that you have estimated. It's also vice versa. You could go ahead and put up a machine that can produce, that has capacity of 5 million sachet water, whereas it's only 1 million that will buy from you. Another point is importance of management and manpower. Oh yeah, management and manpower. I would have told you a short story. You know, sometimes I tell stories, and some people say, "Oh no, it tells too many stories." But since I'm not getting any reactions from the chat, I think I'll just explain this one and not tell that story. Underestimated importance of management. Sometimes, you know, people will start business, they will not know that some skills that people have acquired over time is important and is crucial in a particular business. Like you will see a hotel manager, you say, oh, what does he do? He just sits there, receive guests. There are certain things that he knows that you don't know. not just like building up a hotel and then you say, oh yeah, I have a hotel now and I'm sure I can do this. No, it doesn't work that way. So this your business are going to, even if you're going into business of farming, you will also realize that you need some skill in farming. So that's what we're saying here, that sometimes people underestimate it by saying, by not thinking of employing the right number, the right caliber of people. Okay, another point is market projection is based on insufficient data. Insufficient data is clear, meaning that you don't even know how many people will buy from you. You don't even truly know whether people will buy from you or like a product and meet up. Those are all of that is you are basing on insufficient data. So what we are saying is when you go out for a feasibility study, pick up all these 6 items and then design your study in such a way that they will capture them properly. And then the last one here, we say overestimated availability of infrastructure and other local services. A good example could be you go to the rural area, you get a piece of land, 30 hectares. That's quite enormous, you know. And then where 30 hectares is available, there's no road at all. How do you intend to move your things from your harvest to the city? Sometimes people will just pick up 30 hectares, 50 hectares in the hinterland and without due regard for whether there is infrastructure that can move their harvest out of. These are things that you should look at. All right, so that's it for that's the few shortcomings we've noticed that I can mention here. Let's look at the importance of even of disabilities. We've listed here 4 importance. The information you gather and present in your feasibility study will always help. They will always help in providing in detail all the things that we need for the business to work. All the things that we need for this business to work. Are we going to hire a vehicle? Are we going to rent a place? Are we going to call in this type of person? Are we going to do a marketing dance or something? All those things will always your feasibility study will always help you. Then the next point is identify logistical and other business related problems and possibly solutions. So logistical issues could be, like I mentioned earlier, how do you transport your product or your harvest? Uh, where do you store your harvest? After cultivating a large piece of land like 50 hectares and you have turned it close to 700 to 800 bags of your product, where do you want to keep them? You want to keep them in the sun, it gets stolen. You want to keep them somewhere pests or things like that can eat them up. So logistical issues have to be, where do you store them until you can sell them? The other point is that it helps us to develop market strategy, right? Marketing strategy as in how do I approach this market? What do I do? How do I go and let people know or get my product? So that's going to help you from your feasibility. And lastly, here we say it serves as a solid foundation for developing a business plan. I think I'm repeating this one, but I'm repeating it because I need you to know how important it is that your feasibility study is going to help. All right, that's it about topic 2, which states importance, shortcomings, and objective of feasibility study. Okay, so we can go to the next thing. I think I recall the next topic is just my short advice for you when you are doing your feasibility study. How to go about your feasibility study. Before you begin writing your feasibility study, or I should have put it before you go into the field to do your feasibility, business feasibility check. 1, identify how, where, and whom you intend to sell your service or product. So how are you going to sell your service or product? Are you going to sell it online? Are you going to put up shops? Or where are you going to sell your product? Are you going to sell your product in Abuja, Lokoja, Kano, Borno, or Lagos? And then whom are you going to sell your product to? Are you selling your product to very wealthy people? Are you going to sell your product to people with low income, or you're selling your product to young people, or you're selling your product to old people? All of that you need to get it done. Then the next key point is for you to do an assessment of competition. Competition is the number of all of those, what the other people are doing, the people that are selling the same product with you. You need to know, are they producing the same item? We found that the number of buyers is fixed. If we have, say, 5 million, like in the example I gave, we have 5 million buyers, or the market is 5 million. right? So you need to assess if we are the ones producing or we are the only ones that will produce this thing, or if there are a whole couple of others that will produce. So we need to check all of that. And then the next point is to figure out how much we need. This one appears a little easy, but a little tricky too. Easy in the sense that, oh, fine, just go and get the invoice or get the price of all the items you need. But tricky in the sense that that's not the only money you need. Recall that in the first 3 months, sometimes 6 months, you're going to be running on expenses without any. Maybe you are taking that time to produce your goods. All right. So that time you are using to produce your goods, you are going to be incurring costs, even costs like ADC expenses, you'll be paying salary and all those stuff. We need you to also estimate that money and add it to the money you need for your equipment and all of that. So the two combined is the total amount of money you need. Right. The next advice is what we refer to as pre-feasibility. Let me go to the slide and show you what's saying. Pre-feasibility study. Now, like as the word suggests, pre-feasibility study is all about the study you do before you go into the main feasibility. Just the study you do before you go into the main feasibility. So what's the advice? We say before proceeding with a full-blown feasibility study, where you go to the street, you hire people, you pay them money, you design questionnaires, you sit 3 days, 4 days observing the street and asking questions, and even sometimes studying the product, taking them to the lab to check, and all of that before you proceed with a full-blown feasibility study. That's what we're saying. You may want to do some pre-feasibility analysis. So if you find out earlier on in the proposed business idea that it's not feasible, it saves you time, money, and everything. And that's why I said in this class that go back, if you have an idea, do a feasibility study on your idea. If you think that it's not going to work, just abandon it, go for another idea. There are a whole lot of ideas once you sit and think. Another thing is a pre-feasibility study may be conducted first to help out certain scenarios. Now, in scenarios like if we sell 10 items, what happens? If we sell 100 items, what happens? If we sell 500 items, what happens? Or, or when we're selling our product, if there's rain, what happens? If it's so dry, what happens? These are things that you need. These are scenarios that you can deal with during your pre-feasibility study, so that when you are done with that, you would have come up with some solutions for it before even doing the main feasibility study. All right, the third point here under this advice is get a consultant. A consultant can help you with the pre-feasibility study, right? But we are saying that even if a consultant is helping you, please get involved. Get involved so that it's going to be an opportunity for you to even understand issues around developing the business. Don't leave the consultant to just do and submit your report. No. Participate with the consultant at that point. All right, that's it for topic 3 in section 2 of this module 2. So let's look at the last topic in this feasibility study and see. The last topic is components. Yeah, components. We say components of feasibility. That's what we're saying here. We're asking ourselves, what's the minimum thing we should find in a feasibility? So what's the minimum we should find? All right, we have 6 items here, and we said that's the minimum we should find. These 6 items here, they include a description of the business, a market feasibility, technical feasibility, and financial feasibility, as well as organizational feasibility. Those are some of the things that we need here. Then you draw a conclusion. Okay, let me quickly see if I can explain some of them, what we are saying. Description, this time around, what are you describing? You're describing the business model, you're describing the product or the business generally that you're entering. That's what we want to see. Talk about it in see number 1. Then in number two, we would like you to talk about the market. The market feasibility. In the market feasibility, you're going to look at the industry. Give us a description of industry. What's industry? Industry is any business, right, that's producing similar items, right? That's the industry, or related items. You refer to them as industry. When I say related, if you are selling tires and someone else is selling um, you change frequently spare parts, all of you are in the same automobile industry, right? As well as those that are selling automobiles. So that's an industry. So the other people selling tire and spare parts, they are related. All right. So describe this industry. Tell us about the current market. Current market, I said, is number of people that will buy. So tell us about the current market. Talk about the anticipated future market. Competition, don't forget that one. Then you give us a sales projection. Sales projection is what you will likely sell in future. That's what we're asking you to give us. Tell us what you will sell in future. Then technical. Technical feasibility deals with the technicalities of the business. I hope you get the word clearly. Technicalities. Anything that is related to operational issues, things that help you to run the business. These are the things I want you to discuss here. Like first, we say specify details on how you will deliver a product. The details of how you will deliver a product. Then bring up other issues such as where will the business be located? What technology do we need? What are the transport requirements? And who are the labor and what material are we going to use? Recall the labor here we're talking about has to do with the technical people, the people that really, really make this thing work, not the support staff. When you're talking about support staff, we'll discuss that in the next component, in the next item, which is organizational feasibility. Then the next point we want you to discuss is financial feasibility. As the word goes, is this financially feasible? Meaning that is something going to come out if we put our money, will our money come back at all? That's what we want you to discuss. So you start by telling us the total amount of money you need. Then you go into where are you going to get this money from? Today, yes, you're going to get it from NISA Microfinance. When your business gets very big, the NISA Microfinance will not be able to give you that loan because the loan now is pegged at 10 million. So you will now need like 50 million, 100 million when your business is very big. And that's what we're looking out for. So you go back again. How do you source this capital? Are you going to source it from commercial bank, some from NISA Microfinance Bank, or some from friends, and all of that? When you're done with that, come back and tell us your return on investment. Give us an estimate of how much you're going to get back from this business. Like if you invest 5 million, and then at the end of the day, 1 million comes, and then your product on ground is still up to 1 million, it's still up to 5 million, then we can now say that your return on investment is that 1 million, right? Okay, then the other one is for us to talk about organizational feasibility. We're looking at the legal, we're going to treat legal sometime within the week, legal compliance and legal issues related to businesses. And then we look at corporate structure, including the organizational structure. Once the organizational structure, we want to see how you are going to place people. Of course, you will have a CEO or MD. We also have people reporting to this MD, the person in charge of marketing, the person in charge of operation, the person in charge of finance, and then the people under them. We want to see that feasibility. We want to see how it can work. Another aspect of that feasibility is to see if you already have an existing business, how would this new one fit in? So what we're saying is that it defines the legal and corporate structure of the business, right? It includes the professional background of some of the people that will be helping us in the business. Then lastly, you discuss how the business can succeed. Be honest in your assessment, right? Because investors won't just look at your conclusion. They will also look at the data that give rise to you concluding that this business is good. Note that some of them could have even tried the same business in the time past. So don't try to cook it. Try to be as honest as much as possible. And that's why I told you from the beginning, if you do your feasibility study and you realize that a feasible business, you just abandon the ship. start a new one, and so that this one you will even see that all the figures will tally along. And when you present it to any investor, the person should be able to buy into the idea. Okay, that's it. Let's just illustrate these other items and then we can close this first session. Okay. All right. The first one is market analysis. The 4 key components there. First, get the target population. You know, target population is like how many whole people are in Nigeria, or we now say 200 million, or you say, okay, how many people are in Abuja? We say 8 million or 10 million. So you target, you get that figure. That's your target population. Then that figure that you have gotten from the particular market that you have targeted, market is just Gwagwalada. So you get the number of people in Gwagwalada. Then inside these people, total number of people in Gwagwalada, you now break it down again. Am I going to face guys? Am I going to face only ladies? Or am I going to face low income? Am I going to face middle income? Am I going to face high income? Or am I going to face young people? Am I going to face rich people? So you do that. Then once you select the group, the segment that you want to deal with, you look for a strategy for that segment. Like if you are dealing with very young people, you know that you can easily reach them through social media, right? So that will be your strategy. And another thing we say, you should do a competitor analysis, right? Check how many of them are there. Check their strength, their weakness, opportunities, and challenges. All right. Then let's go to technical feasibility, where you deal with the technical things. Technical things here, we want you to the location, equipment that you are going to bring in. Who are your suppliers? Who are your key skilled staff? What is the raw material? Where are you going to source this raw material? These are the issues you discuss under technicalities. When you are done with technicalities, I need you to combine the market side with the technical side to see what you can get for us in terms of financial. So the first one is investment costs. How much do you need for property, plant, equipment, factory facilities? How much do you need for raw material for first 2 months that you will need to be producing as people are coming to buy? How much do you need for salaries? What are your other pre-operational expenses? Then for your sales projection, you can come down and say, okay, I will likely produce so number in this month, and I want the price fixed at this rate. When you multiply the price, the selling price of your item with the number of items that you have produced, that will give us the sales. So when you multiply these sales by 12, then the annual sales. All right, then organizational analysis. We say this involves questions such as whether the system has enough support to be implemented successfully, meaning that whatever you have on ground, right? You have support on ground to start this new business, or what if there are changes, too many changes? Will your business be able to cope with those kind of changes, particularly those of you that are already in that already have a business and just want to expand? All right, so those are the 4 major components and things you should watch out for when you are coming back from your, when you are trying to write out your study. Why did we discuss some of these things? So that it will help you design your questionnaires, your chart, your study program, or your working paper as you go into the field to do your feasibility. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that should be the end of the first section. Just answer these few questions and then we go into answer these few questions and we'll start the next section shortly. So for this one, just write number 1. Should every business have a feasibility plan? So give me just the answer. Don't write out the question, just give me the answer. Number 2, you write number 2. Then what's the relevance or importance of feasibility study, feasibility plan? So whatever you think it is, write it. Then from this lesson, which aspect of the feasibility plan can you prepare? Or none. Okay, for which aspect do you require the help of others? You can write it like that. Oh, look, it seems I've started getting reaction. Let me go there quickly. Somebody must have replied, yes. I have answer now. Number 1, The question number one says, should every business have a feasibility plan? Yes, Chin will say yes, capital yes, all right. Okay, let me see reactions from other people. I just answer this question during this break, and then we'll start the second session in all right, I've gotten your responses. Oh, someone said, oh, Chinwe said she can't hear anymore. Yes, because we're on break. You don't hear things during break. All right, so I've gotten answers, right? It helps in enhancing sustainability of the business. Number 4, you said the managerial aspect, okay. Let me see more of the reactions in the chat. Okay, most of you say number 1. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, can I see someone raise hand? You raise hand. Okay, let's see if you have something to say. I've asked you to unmute if you have.
Sorry, I just wanted to complain I couldn't hear. But you've explained. Thank you.
Right, we're back. Let's go to the second section now. All right, the second section is business plan. Section 2 finished feasibility study, and you know your feasibility study helps you in the business plan. The business plan, we've just got 7 items to discuss here. The items are rather shorter than the items we discussed in feasibility study, so I will try to see how we leave here early enough. Though the class did not start on time, but we'll see what we can do. All right, so what are we discussing on the business plan today? 7 items. Okay, sorry, the content is this. Executive summary, number 1. Number 2, business description and mission statement. Number 3, business concept, strategy, value proposition. Number 4, market summary and competition. Number 5, competitive advantage, SWOT, risk. 6, resource planning and the team. And 7, financial projection. What we are saying here, if you look carefully at this this content, it's just the various aspects of your business plan that we have broken down into this content. This is a minimum we expect. You could provide more information. If more information is not going to be harmful, so long as they are useful or reasonable. So give us more information if you like, but this is, if you can provide this, it's just fine. So let's start with the first one, executive summary. Hello. Are you there? I'm back. All right. You can see I was rudely thrown out by the internet on my end. We apologize for that. Well, we had to use the backup quickly to see how we can come up. All right. Thank you that I still have some of you in class. In some instances, other people just walk away and say, "Oh no, I'm going." Okay, back to what we're saying. What did we say? The first one was executive summary. That was what we're saying. And we say, when do you write the executive summary? Write it at the end of your business plan. When you're done with your business plan in entirety, that's when you sit down and write your executive summary. And where do you place your executive summary? I suggest some people, advise some people to put it immediately after the cover page. So you have a cover page. The next thing is your executive summary before you go into your content. But sometimes some people will put title page, then they'll come straight to executive. They'll come straight to content, then executive summary. Anyway, it's fine. But here's the reason: you are dealing with people that are very busy and may not want to keep flipping your paper through. They just want to go straight to the executive summary. Who are these kind of people? They are investors. They are very busy executives, so they hurriedly go straight to the executive summary. Now that you know how long should your executive summary be? Here is the other advice: is that keep your executive summary at, personally, I suggest 1 page. Just keep it at 1 page. Although some people say you can go 2-3 pages, it's fine, but I recommend just 1 page. Then the third thing I recommend is that keep your executive summary very catchy. If it means using subtle colors, pleasing colors, not, when I say pleasing colors, I'm not saying go and use rose, pink, and all that stuff. Put colors that give some sense of business, but it's quite pleasing, subtle designs so that I can catch the investor's eye. So he'll look at it and read it. If the executive summary is catchy, he can pass it to his personal assistant or whoever to do a thorough work, and you are good to go. Okay, that's it for. Then the next one is your business description and the mission statement. Here we want you to describe this. You tell us whether it's a limited liability. You tell us about the promoter, when he started the business. You could go ahead and mention his name, the product he wants to sell. Go ahead and tell us all of that. We don't mind hearing that. How long the business idea has started or when the business is commencing, feel free to discuss all of that. So when you are done with that, you give us the object of the business or the reason why the business is in existence. If you can't write in detail, we should be able to see it from your mission statement. So your mission statement gives us the purpose of the business or the reason for existence. And if you look at the screen here, we say point 2 here, say clearly state your company's long-term mission. Try to use words that will help direct the growth of your company, but be as concise as possible, right? Just be as concise as possible. Some people go ahead to mention vision statement. Yeah, feel free to put your vision statement. What's vision statement? Your desired future optimal state. That's what you think you should look like in future. Go ahead and put it. Some people will go ahead and put core values, no problem. And I will be happy if you can put your objective. You know, the objective it comes from the mission statement. So you could give us a long-term objective, you could give us a short-term objective. Fine, well, fine with that. That's what you do in this section. The next section is your business concept, your strategy, and then your value proposition. What's your business concept? If you recall, when we're discussing feasibility study, we talked about CME, we talked about Chinwe, they all had different concepts, right? Those are two different concepts. So you give us what your concept is. Another example of a popular concept that I can describe is we have traditional taxis and we have the Uber or the online taxis now, right? Both of them are taxis, right? They take you from one place, they take you from one place to another place. Now, but the concept is different. The other concept is that you buy taxis, you hire drivers, and then they go look for passengers. Whereas the Uber and then the Taxify or both, for that one, you What you do there is simply to you bring your vehicle, you hire yourself, and then they provide you passengers. You see, these are two different concepts in the same line of business. Okay, or you tell us about your strategy. What's your strategy? How do you intend to approach it? Sometimes you can approach it through your concept. Sometimes you can approach it through, you can come up with any form of strategy like liaising with an existing business, or you could say, okay, you want to produce things just for people with low income. Any strategy you bring is fine. Then the last thing that, one of the other things that we should see, not the last, is your value proposition. Value proposition is very straightforward. What value are you proposing? I can liken it to proposing marriage to a lady. You propose a value to her. So this time around, you are proposing value to your customers. What value can you propose to your customers? You could propose value to your customer in the form of efficiency, meaning that your product is going to work better because you have put in certain equipment or certain things, or you are attaching it with something. Some people sell they sell grease or engine oil. They sell it with soap, probably so that whoever is working on your vehicle, after using this engine oil and it's stained, they can use the soap to wash it, and that's all in terms of efficiency. So the person does a better job on it. You could talk of quality in terms of either durability, the features, and all of that, or the ability to do something is better than others. Then another value proposition is speed. Maybe you have maybe some people dispatch things by vehicle. You start dispatching things by bike, cyclists, and all of that. Then cost. On the screen, you can see the fourth one. There's cost. You can say you could come up with a value proposition that you are able to source your item from cheaper places, and maybe you are able to get your rice from cheaper sources. Rice should be rice, right? Or about the same quality of rice, but you're getting it from somewhere cheaper. So that's what you propose. You want to see that in your in your business plan. So you go ahead, summarize key technology or any other thing that you're bringing into the business. Okay, after that, let's look at the market and the market summary. Like I said, um, when we're discussing feasibility study, we said market is the number of people that will buy from you, right? So go ahead, discuss with us your market summary to include the past. How many people have been buying this thing? How many people will buy today? How many people will buy in future? And then review some of the changes you have observed. You know where do you get all this information from? You get them during your feasibility study. If you don't do a thorough feasibility study and you sit down inside to write a business plan, you'll be able to get some of this. How do you review changes in market share? What is market share? We mean, like if you have 1,000 people that will buy a particular product, but you are selling to say 20,000, your market share is that 20,000. But it changes. People buy from you, sometimes they stop, and then some people stop buying from other people, they now meet you. And in that market of maybe 100,000 buyers, right? You could see someone selling to 50,000. That's the leader's market. So you want to know who the leader is, the leadership of the market. You want to also know other players. And then you may want to discuss the market shift in recent times. Social company used to be the leader, but now social company is the leader. These people's market share has increased, this one has dropped, and all of that. Talk about costing, talk about pricing, and talk generally about the opportunities in the market. Right, competitive advantage. This I find very interesting because it's one of the key things that drive your business to where it should go. Competitive advantage could be defined as one thing that you have that others don't have. So what do you have that others don't have? Or what can you do better than others? So how do you get to do those things better than others? One of them is you have a unique resource, something that is not common to others, not available to others, or you have a core competence. You just have an understanding of how to deal with a particular piece of item. When you combine unique resource and core competence, you usually get a competitive advantage. And if it is difficult to imitate or replicate, then we refer to sustainable one. And so, but one thing I tell people is that if you know you cannot get your own competitive advantage, try and look around if it's something you can replicate. Some of the common ones to replicate are the soft ones, soft skilled ones, like you have excellent customer service, people that can easily remember names of your customers and all. So these are things you need to do. Okay, another one is your SWOT, 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 SWOT. What's the full meaning of SWOT? SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? You may have heard this term before. Note that when you say SWOT, your strengths, your weaknesses, we're referring to the things that are common to your company. Whereas your opportunities and threats are the things that are outside your company. For example, COVID is a threat. It's outside your business. Your business is not the one that brought about COVID, so it's a threat. Another one is assuming you export farm produce. If you export your farm produce, and now that the exchange rate is going high, it means you're going to get more money when you convert it to naira. So that's an opportunity for you. In the same way, we also have on the internal side, strength and we have weaknesses. Weaknesses could be you're always having staff turnover. They will come today, they will resign tomorrow, they'll come, and inconsistencies in those areas. Or on the other hand, like I said, strength. You might have very good customer service, people that laugh with people. People, anytime people come to buy, they want to come back again. These are strengths. What do we want to see in a business plan? Write a list of them. Start, strength, list all of them. Go to the next one, weaknesses, list all of them. Go to the next one, opportunities, list them, and then threat, list them. We want to see that so that we'll know we know that you are aware of some of these opportunities, the threats, and then your weaknesses, your strength. Once you are aware of them, we know also that you want to do something about it. Once opportunity is within your reach. Okay, then the next one is risk. Yeah, risk. You see, the interesting thing is that any investor that gives you money wants to know whether this money will not get lost. This money will not, you will not lose this money in form of your business or something. So the person wants to know what the risk associated with your business is. Recall when we were discussing risk earlier today, we say risk is related to probability that something will happen. So the person investing in you wants to know the probability that your business would either bring something more or bring something less. We're all interested in that, right? So how? What do you do in this section? List out all the possible risks that you think will come up, and then do a risk profiling or risk mapping where you multiply the probability that it will happen by the impact. Impact will be like if you have a building and the building is, or a factory, and your factory is worth like 10 million. If fire got your factory, you're going to lose 10 million, right? So the impact is 10 million, loss of 10 million. So we are saying that what's the probability that your factory is got by fire? If your factory, the probability is 0.1, right? Then that's 10%. So we say, okay, the risk is standing now at 1 million. That's 10% of 10 million. So you write that down. Then on the side also, we need you to also, they could ask you to color them, right? Color them in terms of red, green, yellow to show us which one is more severe than the other. That's not all you do in this risk section. What we want you to do is how do you intend to go about this risk? How do you intend to go about this risk? Meaning, how do you intend what are you putting on ground to help this risk? You can use the TARA model or TARA framework, which is transfer risk, avoid risk, accept risk, or retain risk, or reduce risk. So you can use the TARA model where you're transferring risk, the ones that insurance company can let us know that's transferred. Then the ones that you are going to avoid, you don't do anything about that at all. You tell us that, okay, for this, you are in this area. Then for reduction, you put on your risk internal control measures, what controls you are putting on ground to help. And then the last one is said accept, right? Okay. Accept is for you to just live with it and say, okay, you have done your best, but you don't just live with risk. You live with risk with the probability that a higher return will come. You know, when the risk is higher, the returns should be also. Right, so that's your risk framework. That's what we want to see, that you have also addressed this risk that you've foreseen, that this thing can happen, and then that this is the cost if it happens, and then this and these are the things that you have put on ground in case to prevent it, to mitigate it when it happens. Okay, so that's it for your SWOT, for your competitive advantage, SWOT, and risk. And the other one is resource planning. The broad discussion under resource planning is, leave the word resources. Let's talk about planning. Planning here is, when do you want to start? When you start, what are you going to put on ground first? Who and who is going to come in to do this, to do that for you? Just put it in form of a schedule. Some people use the Gantt model, right? Where they say from so period to so period, we'll be doing this, we'll be doing that, we'll be doing this. And then last one will now be full deployment or something like that. So write that out. Write that out. For finance, where you will tell us that you need so money for this to buy this equipment, then you need additional money to do this. You could take that to the financial projection column, or leave it here. And then under your resource planning, you know, resource, we have physical resource, material resource, and we also have human resource. So for anything human resource, I want you to take it to the next section, and that's the team, right? So what's the team? The team here refers to this, how we need you to do it. This is suggestion. The suggestion here is that draw out the organogram or organizational chart. Let's see where the chairman is. Let's see where the board is. Let's see where the CEO is. Let's see where other executive directors are and all that. Or if it's just you, owner, and then you employ only workers and all of them report to you, let's see that type of organogram. Right, after we're done with the organogram, go ahead, fill in their names, fine. Then you come and do a table for us. The table will have list of names of the people that you're bringing on board, and then write their qualifications for us, write their experience, and write their accomplishment. I'm not particularly interested in qualification, right? In fact, if I'm reviewing your business plan and there are no qualifications, it's not a big deal for me, like when I can't see experience, years of experience and the things that you have done. And I would also like to know what you have accomplished where you were doing something before. Like wherever you were doing, if you're working in a particular organization, manufacturing soap or something, and you come up with idea, you were able to do this, or you were in charge of marketing. Those are the things we want to see, because they are critical to the business than even the fact that you are a professor in a particular field, or no, those we are businessmen and we are not academicians, so our emphasis differs. All right, when we need research reports, we go to those people, get it, and then we apply it to our business. Okay, so that's what I'll see in the team section. That's the people or the management and then the key personnel. Then the last point is your financial projection. This financial projection, sometimes it's almost the most difficult aspect to deal with, because you are projecting or you are predicting the future, and you are predicting with money. You are talking about the future when the future has not come. You talk about the price of the things you're going to sell. You talk about the cost of producing those things. You talk about the cost that you're going to incur in that business. The business has not started and we're already discussing costs. Yes, we need to know those costs, because from those costs, we'll know why you need all the money that you're talking about. The first thing you do is to draw up all your assumptions. Assumptions, yeah, they are called assumptions because they're in future. So as your assumption could be, number one, rent. We believe that we'll be paying rent of 600,000. So when we get there, rent might drop to 500, rent might increase to 700, but we want to know what it is. So it's important that your projection is very close to what will happen. That's why it's difficult when you don't know what will happen. So you write out your assumption, rent will be this, labor will be this, staff will take this salary, cost of raw material will be this, selling price is going to be put at this, get all of those things, right? Then the next thing that you will do, once you have your assumption, is to draw out the cash flow projection. when you have drawn out the cash flow projection, I'm coming to cash flow projection. The summary of the cash flow projection, right, at the end, that is maybe for 12 months or for 5 years, that summary, that is that summary you bring to this section. So where you got that summary from will now be like an appendix because it's a whole detail. So once I see your financial projection and I see the summary, maybe year on a yearly basis, if I want to see the breakdown of each year, I'll go to your appendix to look at it carefully. So what you feel here, most of it will come from the appendix. So what I'll see here is first, I'll see your assumptions, and then I'll see summary. And then maybe financial plan, how you intend to spend the money, you can write it. So these three things will do for me. Then when you get to the appendix, you will do me, because I want to know where you got your summary from. So you do me a cash flow projection. The cash flow projection, the common cash flow projection has 3 layouts. So let's look at the layouts. Okay, so this is the first layout. If you are good with Excel, right, you won't have any problem. You can go to your Excel and then start with the 3 columns, right? The column 1, this one, column 2, column 3. You could do it in weeks, you could do it in months, you could do it in days, right? These are period. These columns are for period. Then the rows here, you list this section. This first layout would deal with all the money that will come inside. So you label it income, you label it cash inflow, you give it a name. Then what will come in form of sales. It can come in form of loan from Niger Microfinance Bank. It can come in form of money from debtors. It will come in form of donations from friends and family. So depending on the lines you have, you create the columns. If you know that you are not too great with Excel, Microsoft Excel, or you don't even have a laptop, pick up a piece of paper, a white piece of paper, and draw these lines like this. Use pencil to fill it so that if you make a mistake, you can clean it and then put a new figure. All right, so we can go to the layout 2 right now. So this is the first layout, it deals with inflow. Then let's look at the second layout. The second layout, it deals with outflow, expenditure. So what are all the expenditure you think you are going to incur? The format is still the same as the other one, where columns are for period, then the first column for description of the items you have. So what are the items of cash flow, the expenditure? Purchases of raw material, wages, payment of salaries, payment of rent, or purchase of one equipment, anything that you know is spending of money, put them down here, right? So here, under here, you can see the total. You can write the total of that expenditure for that period. This on this row. All right, let's bring the two together. That is the first layout and the second layout. And we're not just bringing them together, we're putting figures in them. You can see that the first layout, which is inflow income, and then the second layout here has been merged to this first layout, which is outflow expenditure. The items we have are sales and loan, and then we have figures for them here, right? So you can see that total income is 1,600. We got loan of 1,000. We made sales of 600. The following period, which is February, we made sales of 1,000. We got no loan, so it's 0. Then in our expenses or expenditure or cash flow, our purchases was 800 naira. Purchase, then we pay salary of 400 naira in that month, making a total of 1,002. Next month, we only bought things of worth 500 naira. We still pay the same salary of 400. So our expenses was a total of 900. So these are the 2 layouts. Then I need you to do the 3rd layout. When I say there are 3 layouts, the inflow layout, the outflow layout, and the balance layout. I want to see where your balances are. Let me go there now. All right, so this is your layout. I expect you to bring it also to put it with the first 2 layouts that you have. So the layout here has the first thing, which is opening balance. This opening balance in January is any money that you had on you when you started January 1st. This example, you had 300 naira. Then total income. Recall that we had 1,000 loan and we made sale of 600. Total income is what? 1,600. Total expenditure in that month is 800 purchases, if you recall, and then 400 wages as salary. So we have what here? We got inflow of 1,006. We spent 1,002. We're left with 400. So this 400 plus what we started at the beginning of the period, 300, gives us this 700. So we'll have 700 on hand that we are going to take to February to start business. That's all. But that's all for this explanation. But in reality, here are some other things that can happen. You may not even have any opening balance. For example, you don't have any opening balance at all. Then you have what? Your total income will be 16, your total expenditure will be 12, you'll be left with 400. So what will you start February with? You start February with 400 and not 700. Yeah, another scenario could be, assuming what we just said didn't happen. Total income here was maybe 1,000 only. Where will you get, and you want to spend 1,000, where will you get the balance from? You pick it from the opening balance of 300, right? Okay, so you pick that balance. Here's 1, 2, here's 1,000. So you have 100 left here. So that's 100 is what you use to start the second period. So that's essentially what happens. But the things I need you to notice, what if your income here is very small and your expenditure is rising over time? Is rising January, February, March, and it's all growing. Yes, it can happen in some business where maybe you expect one big sales in June. But if you are not expecting any big sales in future and you keep having minus, then your business is not feasible. You recall when we're talking about adequate cash flow, right? Then your business is not feasible. You need to go back again, take a look at what is wrong. Either you need more loan, either your selling price is not good, or your purchases are too expensive, or the business is simply not feasible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all those that stayed with me from beginning to this time. We're done. We will give you time to ask your questions shortly. We'll ask people to unmute themselves so that they can ask questions, then we'll discuss the question. That's one. The second thing is that we're going to put a post lecture quiz on the WhatsApp chat, and we'll also post it on the Zoom chat so that you can attempt and submit, and then we'll see your scores here. We're putting another test up with them. So we needed to quickly do that for us. For this particular presentation today, this PowerPoint presentation, we will put it on the WhatsApp chat for reference purposes. And then those of you that could not attend this Zoom class fully and would like to still listen to whatever we discussed here, you can go to our YouTube channel and then type in business feasibility study and business plan. What we discussed today should come up and you can listen to it, although you might not be able to ask questions there. So these are the media that we have presented so far, so that you can really flow along with us in our presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again. Okay. 21. All right, thank you. I can't see any question here. It means that you had actually followed. So just quickly run my test. Uh, run the the test after the lecture, and I'm going to see your scores here now. Uh, uh, so let's say if you're able to do it very fast by 12:25, we should leave here and close the class. Okay. I thank you all for those that have participated. We will, if you have not finished with the post-test quiz, right, post-lecture quiz, go ahead, do it. We'll still see it there for our record purposes. Tomorrow we'll come back again, same time. We'll be treating bookkeeping. So I want to close today now. Thank you very much for all your participation, and do have a very lovely afternoon.